Shut up, I'm being serious. You've lost what I was saying. Well, it's going to be a pain in the ass getting up and down. Look how high it is now.
Yeah, I mean, I am already like skeptical
how are you
of.
Going to get up?
If you're like the same height as me.
Oh, I hear.
Literally same height. Joe is like that much taller than me.
So dropping the rudder time, we've fashioned like a brace that attaches from one cleat round under the rudder down to the other side. And we put two on, so they're kind of working opposite. I think two will be enough. Now I'm going to go and try and uncouple the rudder from inside. Hopefully it won't fall and these lines will support it. And then we'll try and get the forklift to lower it down. So as you can see, everything looks so simple, right? Got there. I presume that this here comes through here. This is the pin that needs to be removed, and then I presume this is the collar. It looks like this bolt here tightens this together to keep the rudder stock in place. Knowing all that is another thing, isn't it? So I'm a little bit worried now. Obviously this is the moment where I either undo this or I don't, so it's a little bit of a worry. Well, let's see how we go. Looks like we're going to need a 13mm for the to loosen off the cables that attach to the steering, to tighten the tension of the steering. And then on the collar on the inside here, I'll show you in a minute, we need 17s. Okay, 17mm. So I'm just going to start with just have a go at loosening up the steering cables. Saw that cable slacking off there, remove it a bit. Well, it's not just sliding up like I thought it would. Maybe this needs to come fully off. I thought it would just slide up all the way. Seems to be the case. That should. Definitely not moving. These are loose. These are loose. It should wiggle up, but it's properly tight. Fucking hell. So that was a nightmare. The issue was, I'll point it out in another video, but there's this tiny little locking pin that I presumed would be part of everything, and it just needs to be pulled out, slided out with pliers. And then obviously this is the collar with the bolt that went through, and then it had like a rubber washer below it, and that just sort of slid up over the rudder stock. And then as you can see here, that quadrant, you just needed to force and wiggle, and eventually it popped up. We've got a new one of these coming. That was inside of there. I saw a guy on YouTube putting two grips on and trying to squeeze and then twist it, but that wasn't happening. Price for the future, we got a piece of scaffolding pole from inside the boat. I put that through where the rudder goes, just caught the lip of it, and then hit it with a lump hammer. Couple of sides, and it just popped out nicely. That was quite a good method, really. I've just unscrewed these big bolts that I've been told I need to replace, which I will. On the Westerly forum it said there was 5 bolts, but that must have been a discus. This is a 33, the one before the discus, just. This has 3 bolts by the looks of it. So I've got those 3 out. And obviously I want this with the rudder tube to drop down. But I think I've got to unscrew the top side of it first before it can do that. This is all fun and games, but we're getting there.
Hello guys, so today I'm on my own. I'm going to be working on the engine bay. I'm just going to give it a clean, try and make it look a bit more presentable, ready for the engine to come back in. Today I'm going to be using some boat cleaner from Vasily in Stikal, and I got my gloves because the shit really burns. I've got some leftover foam that I'm gonna off with. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm trying to get this thing off. It's like a little separation. So I'm trying to remove this. I tried to do it from inside the engine bay, but the thing's not moving, so I'm gonna have to try from inside here. Been trying to clean for like, I don't know how long. Just cleaning and scrubbing and cleaning and scrubbing with the boat stuff that I said I was going to use. And like, nothing is coming off.
Stop wiggling the video.
Sorry.
It's supposed to be a tripod. But in one of the Westerly Facebook groups, there was some really good, helpful advice out there. I just popped a question out and people came up with some really good stuff that helped a lot. The Westerly 33 is slightly different. The rudder post sits in between here, the rudder stop. Our problem is we had, as that sits flush there, we had some sort of a leak coming inside the boat here, just sort of seeping. So we need to sort of examine this. It was seeping around there, so it looks like someone had put just sort of Sikaflex. There's a sealant. So on this part here, on the inside of the boat, there's like a tiny hole or a little breakaway on the fiberglass. So we're going to have to fill that and some really strong epoxy. It was then a bit tricky when we came to undo the quadrant and get that off. It was tricky because obviously this is the setup we've got here, right? So this now comes up onto the top of the boat. This plate here has a thread that screws onto this. This is one of those rubber seals with the spring inside. Okay, and that was just sat in the top of there because I bought a new one. So I've got a new rubber ring here, and I was expecting to have that sort of under here somewhere to make that waterproof seal, but there was nothing there at all. So if that was missing, maybe that is what has caused this problem, but I need to figure out if that is the case, that it needs one or doesn't. So that'll be another job. So that would screw onto there. Then it had a nice plate on top. Then we had a ring on there. Then this is the collar. This bolt then obviously sat through, all the way through the rudder post itself. And then on top of that, we had the quadrant, which has obviously a connection around the post, and then this bolt puts it together at this side, binds that quadrant onto the rudder stop. Okay, now I thought I'd remove that and it would come out, that quadrant would lift off. It didn't seem to move, so I removed this and it still didn't seem to move. And what it has, I thought would be an integral part, sort of connected to the rudder maybe itself or to the stock, but on the rudder post there's like a little slot that this sits in, like this, just inside. And all you needed to do, which it took me a while to figure out, all I needed to do was get some pliers and just pull that out like that, and then that is just its own little key, if you like. Someone can maybe educate me on what this is called. That key, as that pops out, below we had it tied up with rope, but then we had our Vasily from Slick Hull here at Portimao boatyard. He came with his forklift truck, so we just put the forklift underneath the rudder to support it. And then when everything was undone, me and Kylie went down and we sort of wiggled and slowly removed the rudder. So now the job is figuring out how to organise what's going on inside the hull there and organise that little hole, epoxy that back up, and then also figure out how to make it the most waterproof possible with the correct setup. So that'll be the fun and games next. anniversary meal.
Take a picture.
Oh, the Sommelier with a 1983 bottle. But she goes, I bet this is... I bet you say you like this one.
Holy shit, I do.
Yeah, she would like this one, eh? Doesn't really drink much wine, but bring out the old...
Wonderful, really good.
Honestly, that's like the best I've ever tasted.
Of course.
Where is it from?
That's one from Intuition. It's from West Valley. West Valley is the top of Lisbon.
So, what do you think of the new wine then? Now what you're saying is you're only drinking wine from
1984.
at least in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Right, okay. That's a shame. Ruined. Okay, we only have to
Forever.
buy expensive wine now.
Yeah, sorry.
What we got here?
Some like red pepper thing.
Oh, what you got there?
A cocoa special or something.
You're a cocoa special. Oh, fancy pants.
Make sure you hit the subscribe button and the bell icon too, so that you can be notified every time we post a video. Thank you for watching and see you next time.